My name is Clare and I am from England. I encountered Jesus in a deep reality in my late 20s. I had a knowledge of God and a desire for God throughout my childhood and teenage years, but it wasn't until in my 20s that there was a deeper stirring and a deeper seeking for God, and then eventually a deep encounter with God. When I was at university, I saw Christians, and I'd grown up in the Catholic Church and had been a part of many of the Catholic churches in the areas that I'd lived, and I'd given my heart in being part of community and in being involved in worship, being involved in different ways. But it always felt like there was something missing, and I eventually left because I felt like I had read a story about someone having faith for God to provide for them. It was a big faith. It was faith for them to provide ships. And that had stirred in my heart. Like, there's a God who works miracles. There's a God who provides. There's a God who is real in that way. And there was just this longing to know God. And so when I wasn't finding him in the church that I was in, I actually did leave and was just like, God, you have to lead me to where you are. And so over the time, there was that, in some ways it was a growing relationship with God because there was a desire, and he was responding, he was leading, he was bringing people to me who helped me to grow, but I still didn't really know Jesus. So I started going to a non-denominational church and I grew some, and then one time God spoke to me in a worship song, and he said, Claire, will you surrender to me your comfort blanket? Which was, at the time, I had some money that was my just in case fund, in case I needed it for rent or for something, that I needed. And I felt like he was saying, surrender it to me, give it away, and trust me. And so it was a step of trust and faith of, God, I'm going to trust you, and I'm going to come and follow you. And so that was one of kind of a turning point for me. And over the coming years, again, there was just a growing seeking of God. But I was also a very broken person. I had 2 breakdowns in my 20s. And during my second breakdown, I was I was housebound. I was paralyzed with fear. I was on medications for sleep, medication for anxiety, medication for depression. I was self-harming. I was very suicidal. I had to be watched 24 hours a day a lot of the time. And I was very desperate. I didn't have any hope. Even though I had encountered God, and there was still, I would write Psalms on my wall, I would search the scriptures, but I was utterly desperate, and I didn't see any hope. I felt like there was 40 more years of trying to get one more step outside the door. And someone who was looking after me at the time, she wrote to a pastor in America who she had met once and asked him if he would come and pray for me. And eventually, there was a no at first, but then eventually he came and he just said, all I can do is share what God has been doing in his life, which was really calling him to surrender and go deeper. And so he came over, they carried me into a room and lay me on the sofa, and he began to speak and just to share what God had been doing in his life. And as he spoke about surrender, and as he spoke about being set apart for God, God opened my eyes to see what it meant to let go of everything that had been in the past, every hurt, every pain, every struggle, every battle, to let go of it all and to trust him, to give him my future, to give him my past, to give him my present, and to just surrender it all to him. And he gave me grace at that moment to step into that, to let go and to come with him. And I encountered Jesus in such a beautiful way in that time, just letting go of everything and giving him my life and coming after him. And I was radically healed, like from being a dead person to being a live person, from being blind to being alive, to having my eyes opened. It was such a transformation that people were amazed at what happened. That night, I hadn't been able to be outside for 18 months, and that night I was able to go outside. I was freed from so many things. And there was a journey afterwards of walking more freedom out, but there was also a dramatic and radical transformation that happened in that instant of encountering Jesus. And I fell in love with him, and I wanted nothing more than to pursue him for the rest of my life. And over the years since then, he's revealed himself to me in many ways. And one of the most profound ways that he has shown himself to me is that he is the God who sees, and that he saw me and he showed me that he encountered me as a 2-year-old in the midst of trauma. He came to me and he met me then, and that he'd had his eye upon me, he had his hand upon me through years of abuse, through years of struggles and battles and self-harm and just struggle after struggle after struggle, that he'd been the God who sees. And one of the very first scriptures that he spoke to me that I said, God, I know that you know me, he said, oh, storm-tossed one, not comforted and afflicted, or afflicted and not comforted. And it was like, God, you know me. This is exactly what I am. I'm storm-tossed, I'm afflicted, I'm not comforted. And it was just this revelation of he's the God who sees, he's the God who knows me. And over the years since then, it's just, he's drawing me in. He is such an amazing and compassionate and tender and merciful God, that he has come and rescued me from a place of deep darkness and brought me into a place of freedom that I never imagined that I would come to. I thought always my past would overshadow me, and there would always be just things that would hang on from the years of struggle and battle and trauma. But God didn't. He has truly set me free. He gave me a new life, and he can do the same for you. He's the God who comes and encounters. You turn to him, he'll come and rescue. He'll come and bring you out of things that you couldn't even imagine being free from. But he's the God who can bring such amazing freedom, and is the God who also loves us with a depth of love that I always longed for and never knew.